Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new edition of the Daily Debate. In tonight's show, we're going to be focusing on the prospects of the tourism sector for the year 2021. This is in light of the government, with the help of the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, transferring 22 royal mummies and 17 royal coffins to the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization that is located in El Fustat area. Also, Egypt is on the top of the Guardian's list of the world's most famous visited sites virtually. We're going to be focusing on all of these things, the events and the prospects of the tourism sector for this year in tonight's episode. But before we start doing so, we're going to take a look at some of the main stories making the news today. And we'll start off with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi expressing hope on Tuesday that the National Palestinian Dialogue that is hosted by Cairo would yield tangible results. Now, the second round of the Palestinian National Dialogue started in Cairo on Tuesday with the participation of 15 political factions to discuss issues related to facilitating the elections, which they agreed on holding during the negotiations' first round in February. The negotiations, which are held under the Egyptian auspices, are discussing legal procedures of the electoral process and the political environment of the electoral scene. The president expressed to the leaders and representatives of the Palestinian factions his wishes to achieve the targets and goals of the Palestinian National Dialogue that is held in Cairo. The second round of the Palestinian National Dialogue began under the auspices of the president, with the participation of the leaders of 15 Palestinian factions and the attendance of the presidency of the National as well as the Central Electoral Committee. This came in the framework of the Egyptian exerted efforts to end the Palestinian division and reunification. Now, the dialogue concluded its first day with the Palestinian factions signing a code of ethics in which they affirmed their keenness to conduct the electoral process in all its stages with transparency and integrity in a manner that serves and strengthens the national unity and public interest. The conference will resume tomorrow, Wednesday, to discuss issues related to the Palestinian democratic path. The Palestinian factions agree on forming a national committee to assess the compliance to the Elections Code of Ethics. The Palestinian Elections Code of Ethics assures the compliance to COVID-19 precautionary measures during the electoral process. The Palestinian Elections Code of Ethics assures the anonymity of voting and the commitment to the election campaign. This was the main story for the news today, but now let's shift our attention to the tourism sector for 2021 here in Egypt. Now, Egypt is to transfer 22 royal mummies and 17 royal coffins to the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization in El Fustat area. Let's check out this report, and we'll be right back with my distinguished guest.
Egypt is preparing for a royal procession of mummies from the Egyptian Museum in Tahrir Square to the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization in Fustat. The procession features 22 mummies, 18 of which are mummies of kings and 4 are of queens. Head of the museum sector at Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, Mu'min Osman, said the process of transferring the mummies would be carried out in line with specific procedures and international safety measures. He explained that the artifacts were placed in sterilization units equipped with the latest scientific equipment and loaded onto carts that were specifically designed and equipped for this purpose. The aim is to preserve the integrity of the mummies and ensure that the celebration is carried out in line with the greatness of ancient Egyptian civilization. The Minister of Tourism and Antiquities, Dr. Khaled Al-Anani, and top museum officials have been discussing the final preparations to receive the royal mummies in El Fustat. The Cairo governor declared a state of emergency to determine the path of the royal mummies and the area being developed in the vicinity of the Museum of Civilizations in Ain al-Sira, which will receive the royal mummies. The area directly in front of the museum was converted into a tourist attraction project linked to the museum, and there are several roads serving the area and linking it to main roads. The event is scheduled to start with the opening of the Egyptian Museum's door for the mummy's exit, in the presence of international ambassadors and the media. The mummies will move from the Egyptian Museum on 22 old Egyptian-style cars with musical instruments playing. Sources said the event has been rehearsed to finalize, and the tests were being carried out on lighting, decoration and equipment. They also added the Egyptian Museum was taking place around the clock, and work is still ongoing with an exchange between archaeologists and inspectors. The royal mummies being transferred are many. It is expected that they will be accompanied by 17 royal coffins, and the procession will move from Tahrir Square to the Nile Corniche.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and starting off our discussion with, we're joined here in the studio by Mr. Emad, Nicola, head of the tourism company and member of the tourism company's chamber. Mr. Nicola, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for taking me.
Mr. Nicola, first of all, now the Ministry of Antiquities and Tourism is transferring 22 royal mummies, 17 royal coffins to the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization in El Fustat. It is an event that is being monitored and watched by the whole world. How significant is such an event for Egypt, for the tourism sector in Egypt, and really because the whole world has been really taking notice of the cultural sort of aspect of tourism here in Egypt, obviously with the prospect of the inauguration of the Grand Egyptian Museum. Now, how important is this sort of event to boost the tourism sector for the year 2021?
Extremely important. It is one of a kind event that we have to really build on it big time. This is not going to happen again in the coming, like, say, 50 years. This have never been before in the past 100 years. Since the old museum and now till the new museum is over 100 years. So we were not going to have a new museum until another 100 years, maybe, or more or less. And the movement of these kings and to the new museum is something I'm expecting that the whole world will be watching it. The whole world will be anticipating it, and we have to capitalize on this. We have to make it at the right time to pick us up. Because such an event will book our hotels door to door all over Cairo and nearby cities. When we just like mention the date, and I'm sure that I'll be having a hell of inquiries and reservations. So I wish that this hilarious movement and this extraordinary event will be put in the right time, where the pandemic is like slowing down, and people start to traveling again, and we come with the event, and then we pull everybody first thing to Egypt, because there is nothing like this in the world. Where else are you going to find 22 kings, mummies moving from here to there? And what I've seen from the outskirts of the event, that the government is really doing a great job. These cars that we saw, the lighting cars and things, is going to be like beautiful. So we need to build on this big time, really big time.
Yes. Well, Mr. Nicola, it is moving, I think, from the Egyptian Museum in Tahrir Square to the Fustat area. Now, what is the reason behind moving it from the Tahrir Square to the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization in Al-Fustat? Is it because we want to spread the cultural sort of wealth of the mummies and the coffins in different museums around the country, or is there a different sort of imagination for El Tahrir Square, because everyone is reimagining and talking about really a makeover for the Egyptian Museum in Tahrir Square?
Let me tell you first that the mummies at the old museum is museum inside the museum. It is even the area where you visit, you're going to have to pay an entrance fee, special entrance fees for it. And it was a little bit crowded area. In Fustat, it's going to be exactly what it should be. It's going to be presented, these mummies will be presented in a perfect way, and it will give the visitor a better view of these mummies, give the visitor better space, so bigger groups can go in, bigger groups can... Anyway, they are paying an extra to see the mummies.
Yes.
So a little bit more extra, and go to a modern place, nice, clean, and a state-of-art technology of showing these mummies. It's a brilliant move.
Yes.
It's a brilliant move.
And what about the Tahrir Museum? Everyone's speculating about how it will look like, the kind of tours that will be... It should be having a different kind of activities now as opposed to the ones we've been used to for decades. Do you know any information about how the Tahrir Square might look like or might feel like, the dynamics of the tourism, the touring there?
What I know is, as a principle, we made the new museum because the old museum was packed, overpacked actually, and the amount of mummies, sorry, not mummies, the monuments we have at the basement storage of the museum is even bigger than what is being displayed inside the museum. So what we're going to do, we're going to just spread more arts in the new museum and give space to the old museum to show better way to show our the monuments parts. The building of the old museum, the beauty of it is incomparable. This by itself is a heritage that we have to keep and follow. What will happen is we will be, I guess, I'm not sure, but what I heard is this will be closed after the new one will be open. This will be closed for a while to refurbished, to modernize it, add the old spirit, add the old view, and then open it again, specialized in some dynasties, some sort of pharaonic time frame, and the rest will be at the big museum at the pyramids.
Yes. Well, it seems that over the past few months, maybe even a few years, Egypt has been working on opening a lot of new museums at different parts of the country. We see the museums in Sharm el-Sheikh, Hurghada, the new administrative capital, obviously refurbishing a lot of museums, as you've mentioned, and the most anticipated event of all, which is the inauguration and the opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum. Do you feel that now the tourism sector will have to sort of organize or replan their tours, yourself being head of a tourism company, that you're going to really try and have a bigger focus on the cultural museum and not just the beach tourism, the cultural tourism, not just the beach tourism, that is one of the main attractions in Egypt?
Well, let's put it this way. The culture tourism in Egypt is one of a kind. There is nothing like this in the whole world. Maybe a bit in China, maybe a bit here or there, but nothing like this magnitude that's in Egypt. More museums, we need more museums. As I told you, we have in the storage more than what we're showing to the people. So why not? And in economical point of view, the tourist who comes for culture is more spender than the tourist who comes for beaches. The tourist who comes for beaches, just like you and me, we're going to eat, sit in the sun, have a bath, nothing a lot to spend. But the culture tourist is coming to visit a museum, paying entrance fees, seeing the temples, all these pharaonic areas, each and every part you're going to pay an entrance fees. So for the country, we better grab more tourists who are interested in the culture. For us as a travel agencies, of course, we have to change the old school of visits to a new ones. Already people are asking us like every day before the pandemic, when is the new museum going to open? I have this question every day. We still don't know. It's very soon, but within 2021. I hope we don't open it until the pandemic goes away. So we need that impact. We don't want to lose it. We have to change our old school visits, which is visiting the Pyramids Museum and Citadel, and to the new things. People are asking me a lot about the Abdin Palace visits. When they open it, I had a lot of questions. Can we visit it? Can we see it? Of course you can. Now there is an area open that you can see it. And it's very important. I like that move very much because these palaces almost close and nobody sees it, while it is beautiful piece of art inside and shows even not only the pharaohs who were great, no, just a few hundred years, less than 100 years ago, we also had huge thing. And the new civilization that were built, that the presidency is building right now, it's something that people wants to see. My friends, when they come before the pandemic, start to see the roads and things and the building, they want to see. So we have to finish with the old school and start showing people other things than what we used to have in the old books.
Yes. Mr. Nicola, now, you haven't been on the show for a while, so I need to take your perspective and your opinion about the tourism sector and the ups and downs that it went through over the past decade or so. Now, over 10 years, we've witnessed two revolutions, 2011 and 2013. The tourism sector was hard hit here in Egypt specifically. And then as soon as we started getting back on our feet, we were hit with the coronavirus pandemic. And again, the tourism sector in Egypt and all over the world was hardly hit. Now, getting back on its feet post the two revolutions, and then getting back on its feet post the coronavirus pandemic, is it a similar sort of experience? Are there sort of similarities between both? Did we learn from the first time around our experience in getting the tourism sector on its feet after the two revolutions? How did you deal with it, with you running your agency and company, and what's your opinion about it?
Well, this subject needs like two or three episodes.
Yeah.
But let me tell you in brief. Of course, we suffered a lot. 2010 until 2016, we were almost like dead. But we still had some movements here and there that kept us alive. kept us alive so we can get ready for the movement to come again in 2017, midway. 18 was good, 19 was booming, and then comes the pandemic. The harsh thing about this pandemic is it killed the travel business. It didn't even slow it down, no. At the revolution, we slowed down, very slow, but we're still moving. Now it's completely dead. Nobody's traveling. Nobody wants to take the risk of travel. So we are suffering big time. The travel agencies, the local travel agencies, suffering big time. Our employees, like my company, my employees is like, I have employees over 20 years old with me in the company, working in the company over 20. Where should I send them? How come can I tell them stay home? I cannot. So we are losing a lot of money. I'm worried, just like you, that when the travel comes back, and when it comes back, it's going to come back hard, tough, and much, because people like you and me, we get sick of like getting sit and tied for years now. We can call it years now. So people, when they start to have the chance to travel, they will travel. And somebody like me, half of my capacity already working in other activities, not left the travel business, have to bring them back, have to pay them well to bring them back, because I need their experience that I taught them throughout the years. It's going to be tough, it's going to be hard. How are we going to do it? I cannot tell you, I don't know, but we have to. We have to survive.
Yes, and during that time, is the domestic tourism a big factor, or it's still, even if people are traveling around the country, it's still not enough to keep it afloat, to keep the businesses afloat?
I have just made a post one day, like 2 weeks ago. I said that people who's trying to make anything out of the travel business these days remind me of the orchestra who were playing while the Titanic was sinking. There's nothing you can do. The domestic will never feed the travel agencies. Maybe it will a little bit help the hotels, but not the travel agencies, not our side, because the Egyptian is so easy. He pick up the phone and call the hotel and get the reservation done, or through the websites and things. But he doesn't know. He doesn't need to go through a travel agency. Still, no. The answer is no. It didn't really help a lot.
Yes.
Not to us, not even to the hotels.
Well, on a more hopeful note, well, things are getting better, and the coronavirus pandemic hit the whole world, and it hit the tourism industry all over the world. But in Egypt, it was not maybe as severe as it was in Europe or the Americas or in Asia, thank God. So we actually have a better sort of start, maybe, or restarting process than a lot of other countries, and that puts us on a good stead to resume and to get back on our feet. Now, how are the travel agencies planning for this new, as you've mentioned, hard return of the tourism sector? Everyone will want to travel. Everybody would want to go to different countries, especially in Egypt. We've got the cultural tourism, the beach tourism. How are we preparing ourselves?
At the moment, I cannot tell you that there is a preparation. I just can tell you that we're trying to survive to reach that point. The name of the game now is how to stay alive, how not to get bankrupt, how not to... Government is trying to help us. Help is not coming strongly, unfortunately. I know that the head of the government and our minister, our president is trying to help us, but it's not reaching us. The help is not coming down. Yes, everybody wants to help the travel sector, so we won't fall down and crack, but it's not reaching us up till this moment. No. We need the only decisions and the help offered by the government and the president to reach us quickly, so people, travel agents, can stay alive and get prepared for that day to come.
Yes. Well, it seems that every week or two, there's always talk about Egypt as a top destination in different media outlets, be it the CNN or the Time travel magazine, also the Guardian as well. Do these things really help promote traveling to Egypt abroad from different markets that have been quite hibernating during the coronavirus pandemic?
Let me tell you that Egypt, the name itself, is a publicity. People, wherever you go, wherever I travel, from Australia, States, Far East, Near East, whenever I say I'm Egyptian, I get a smile back on everybody's face and telling me, I wish I can go, I wish I can visit that country. So Egypt is a destination that doesn't really need help from the Times or the Guardians. We are there, and we are very, very important, or one of the important tourist destination in the world. What I'm worried about is us to absorb the demand that we're going to have. If we didn't have the pandemic, like these days now, we would be sitting here discussing something else. We would be sitting here discussing we don't have rooms. We need more rooms in Cairo. We need more rooms in Sharm el Sheikh, because demand is there. These media shows us, point to us that, yeah, Egypt is important. Yes, but we know. Egypt is important. Yes, we have a huge demand coming for us. We need more. We need more infrastructure for the travel business. We need more modern buses to transport people. We need modern cars. We need more qualified guides, not the new ones. The new ones coming out, the tourists sometimes know better than them the information in the temples. We need the infrastructure of tourism. We need to focus on that, so we can, with the service, how to serve our client at the reception, at the restaurant. Even the guy who carries out the bag has to learn the ethics of dealing with the tourists. These are the things that I'm worried about. These are the things that we need to focus on, so when it comes back, we are ready.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Guardian has actually put Egypt on top of the destinations to actually visit the ancient building here in Egypt virtually. Let's check out this report and know what building we're talking about, and we'll be right back.
With the ongoing coronavirus pandemic and the subsequent total or partial closures in many countries, lives have become centered around the online world, and travel is but a dream for most. Lucky for us, the Guardian newspaper has issued a list of the most famous ancient buildings around the world that people can visit from the comfort of their home. Egypt topped the Guardian's list, specifically the group of 5 buildings formerly belonging to the Sultan al-Zahir Barkuk. The Guardian chose Mosque Madrasa of Sultan Barkuk among the 10 virtual tours of spectacular buildings around the world. The Guardian said the intricate architecture in the Iwan's display versus the Quran along the geometric designs and patterns. The Mamluk-built mosque contains marble mosaics, and its doors and minarets are carved to perfection. The virtual tour was among many in the Experience Egypt from Home campaign launched by the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities last May. Experience Egypt from Home, within the efforts of the work exerted by the Egyptian General Authority for Tourism and Promotion to boost Egyptian tourism, 3 National Football League players visited Egypt to spend their vacation, enjoy the warm, sunny weather and open spaces, in addition to visit tourist attractions and archaeological sites. Their program in Egypt included visiting the most important tourist and archaeological monuments in Cairo, Giza, Alexandria and Luxor. The head of the Office of Egyptian Tourism Promotion Board Director at the airport received the players and presented them with souvenirs and materials for touristic sites, museums and archaeological places. Multiple visits of famous athletes and celebrities to Egypt is a great opportunity to promote Egypt as a tourist destination. Meanwhile, the U.S. Embassy in Cairo welcomed the American National Football League players and shared a number of photos from their tour on its official account on Instagram. The trio kicked off with a visit to the Giza pyramids. The players enjoyed the warm weather and the bright sun of Egypt, in addition to visiting tourist attractions and archaeological sites.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Continuing our discussion with Mr. Nicola. Sir, now it seems that during the pandemic, the virtual tourism was taking really a forefront seat. Everyone's locked at home, and everyone's been touring the museums, going through different ancient buildings virtually, just trying to keep the interest in the destinations up and running. How effective was this, along with the social media marketing campaigns, the propagandas, the hashtags? How successful have they been in just keeping the destination on top of everyone's mind?
It was not bad, actually. People sitting home, like as you said, wish to see, let's say, وكالة الغوري. They can't sit down in their bed and put the laptop on, click it, and here it is. You can watch it, can see it. And this built within the clients or the potential travelers the desire to come and see it for real. So we need to pay more attention to that area. We do have a lot of documentaries about our important buildings and sites and things. But it needs to be more rapid, more advanced, 3Ds, things like that, that people would love to go and see and make a reputation. And the Egyptians are like good in social media. And we have connections with others on all our accounts and whatever social media we're following. So if I have like Indian guy in my account, when he sees something I share, then he take it to his friends and so on and so on. So I like what we have, but I'm urging the ministry to, and what do you call it, the
Revitalization Tourism
yes,
Association.
Association, yes. To make the new videos, new slides, new 3Ds about the important and the hidden areas. Not everybody have the photo of the pyramids, but not much have the inside the palace at the Salahuddin Museum. Not everybody have the temple that is, the tomb that is 40 meters under the ground in Saqqara. So if these things put up, presented in a good manners, we're going to build up a desire within the travelers. I want to go and see that. I've seen it in the picture. Wow, it's amazing. So whenever we are back, these people is going to jump in.
Yes.
I'm going. I want to see these things that I visit virtually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, talking about the virtual touring and talking about social media now, over the past few years with the importance of social media that is, and life online really through shopping or learning or education, everything, and tourism as well. Now, it wasn't just the industry was not only dependent on the travel agencies and the travel companies, but also you see a lot of individuals creating their own accounts, having their own tours, working as tour guides, going on adventure tourism, if it's kite surfing or rock climbing or doing safaris or trips in the sea. Now, as a company owner, do you feel that this is some sort of a competition to you, or does that encourage you to really step into this market and having your own sort of social media campaigns, your own accounts, trying to have this sort of reach through social media?
It is. It is. We already do that. We already, most of our advertising campaigns now is within the social media, because it's the tool. It's nothing else now. It's where the world is going. Now, if you compare this, you compare it with like the old camera with the film inside.
Yes.
Now this industry disappeared.
Yes.
And because the digital is here. Also, a lot of things, a lot of advertising materials that we used to have it in the old days, it's not effective anymore. Now social media is the effective. So we do have advertised through social media, but you bring out a very important point. Now, it is easy now through the social media for non-travel agency to make his own trip and go for it and bring people and get it together and travel. It's dangerous. And I've seen a lot of troubles coming from this area, because these people, it's not guaranteed. These people is not, I mean, if I did something wrong as a travel agency, there is a ministry behind me. Anybody can go and complain to the tourist police, to the ministry, to the chamber. This guy did something wrong to us, and I have to go and see what's going on personally, not even one of my employees, and see what's going on and fix whatever bad thing happened through my company. The other guy, who is going to blame him? Who's going to talk to him? So, but we have to fix it in a good way. I had an experience. A gentleman used to do an adventure, exactly as you good self said, adventure tours in the desert, and it was very successful with him. But he had a problem, and people go complain against him, and the police went to take him as an intruder to the travel industry. And by coincidence, I was there. I told the guy, come, work with me. Sit in my company. I'll give you the 30 years experience about the laws and the way to do it and how to do it. And you give me your new experience in adventure. And we merge that together. And it happened. And it worked. And that's what we need to do. But You know that they say if you know that you're going to go away without punishment, you're going to keep on doing the wrong thing. We have to have some punishment, serious ones, for those who travel, who works away from a travel agency. And we ask them for a very simple thing. Go through a travel agency. Do whatever you want to do, but through a travel agency. So at least I can find somebody to talk to if one day you fail.
Yes, within the legal procedures of it.
Exactly.
Well, it seems that Egypt is anticipating a lot of tourists coming from Egypt, Italy, the Czech Republic, hopefully as well from Russia over the next few months. Now, you've mentioned that it's not easy to prep up for this sort of big flock of tourists, but it still needs to happen. So what are the main sort of preparations being taken by the government and as well as the travel agencies?
It's, well, the good news is that the Russians are coming back. We all heard the news, and that means that we're going to have a big bulk of business coming back. The last time I was in an episode like this, and I guess it was with you, I said, we don't need the Russians anymore. We are already full without the Russians. So if they don't want to come, they're the losers, not us. Now, they're coming. And we were full without them. Imagine how it's going to look at the... We need how to solve this. We need to maintain and keep the old calibers, the knowledgeable ones, the experienced ones. We need to keep them within the industry. So at least these calibers can fast and easily bring back the younger stuff, teach them fast, and put them into put them into work. If we lose, now we already lost within the pandemic. We lost from zero. If we said the company, the head is 10, and the office boy is one, we already lost from 1 till 6. Now we are trying to maintain from 6 to 10. This area of expertise. If we lose the 6 to 8, it's going to be hard, I'm telling you, to serve the demand we're going to have. We have to keep this area of the younger management, the older management, and the assistant management. These three, we have to keep them. Those who can educate, learn, and teach the new calibers and put them into work as fast as possible.
Mr. Nicola, now you've mentioned more than once the importance of transferring the experience, the importance of training newcomers to the industry, having good calibers within the tourism industry, which is essentially a service industry. Now, to do that, now you've done that individually with an individual tour guide, and he was incorporated in your company, and you were able to have a good experience and example with this individual. But is the training responsibility a governmental responsibility? Can the tourism companies chamber form some sort of a program to get a lot of youth, a lot of people who are interested to join the tourism sector? Is it based basically on individual heads of companies such as yourself to do so?
Everybody. Let me tell you how. Now, experienced staff at a hotel. Who's going to train them? The hotel management companies. So this area is there. Travel, tour operating, and reservation and guidings. Who's going to teach them? Who's going to prepare them? Us, travel agency. When here for us, when I say us, it's us up until the Chamber of Travel Agency Association. Chamber actually used to have a program, a training program for the new calibers. And it's still there. But I think we're going to have to increase the size to the double in the coming area. Still the same thing at the hotels. Hotels are now like, if a hotel has 2 towers, it's closing 1 tower and working with 1. All the employees in that tower already left. Now when he wants to reopen it, we have to train all this stuff again to put them in the, but this comes from the hotel itself and the Chamber of Hotels. Everything comes, everybody share the responsibility of the training. Now the government also have a big major part to do, the ministry, which is, there is an area, what do you call it, a gray area, which is it my responsibility or the government responsibility? There when the government, when the ministry and the government has to jump and says, hey, bring that to me, I'll do that part for you. Things like training bus drivers. Is it really a travel agency? No. Is it, what is, there is no association for them. Then we have to have training for the driver, the bus driver in the travel service is as important as me, as anybody, as the minister, because he's the one who gives the smile, he's the one who drives carefully, he's the one who makes them feel safe. This guy, this driver is very important, same as the limo driver, same as the taxi driver. These are the government. So everybody needs to carry his own responsibility in training and bringing the calibers back to the industry as soon as we see things coming brighter within the horizon.
Yes.
Hopefully soon.
Sir, now one final question because we're running out of time. Now, we have our own market share in attracting tourists coming to Egypt, but there are also other markets that we're not as present maybe as in Europe, for instance. I'm talking about South America. I'm talking about different markets that we can still have a share in. Now, is that the time to try and attract new markets? Or should we wait, as an industry, should we wait until we're standing firm back on our feet and then try to penetrate different markets?
It's a very beautiful question, and I'll try to be brief. These markets really are interested in Egypt, and I have travel agencies in Brazil and Costa Rica and Mexico, and they send us travelers. These are going to be solved in a blink of eye as soon as we have a flight from South America to Egypt. We don't have. As soon as we have it, so let's go back on our feet, send the flight, schedule a flight to Rio de Janeiro, and you're going to have a lot of business from there.
Yes. Well, on that hopeful note, ladies and gentlemen, we remember what Mr. Nicola said. It is a service industry. We still need to get back on our feet. It is a lot of training and effort that needs to be exerted, not just by the government, but also by the travel companies and the travel agencies, and definitely by the Egyptian citizen to have a well-rounded tourism culture within our society to make a pleasant stay for the foreign tourists coming to Egypt. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this edition of the Daily Debate. But before we go, I'd like to thank my very distinguished guest, Mr. Emad Nicola, head of a tourism company and also member of the Tourism Companies Chamber. Mr. Nicola, always a pleasure having you with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for more coming up on Nile International. I'm Hani Saif. Thank you for joining us.